All right, so let's get started with the questions. So I think a good question for us to start with is defining prehab, right? What is prehab for endurance athletes? So Ellie, we'll start with you. We'll let you give the first question here.
Okay, so I would define prehab as really anything that's going to put a runner in the best position to succeed with their training and do so in a consistent fashion without consulting with medical providers in the process. Yeah.
All right, Finn, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, also with so prehab is also like looking at like the kinetic change and stuff. So when we're working with a lot of athletes and stuff like that, or endurance runners, I tell people that everyone has a red line. So everyone has a point where tissues, tendons, and all that will start to stress and everything. And so prehab is trying to look at the kinetic chain, the metabolic system, and everything else to figure out if there is aberrant motions or compensation patterns that could happen during those times that would put more stress on that system and make you redline quicker, right? And trying to decrease the amount of stress that's going through the system so you can last long before you get to that point. And then also working on your training loads, right? So if you train too hard and too quick, there's an increased risk of injury, or if your acute training load is too much compared to your chronic training load, from week to week, there's also an increased risk of injury as well. So looking at all of those systems combined.
And Kristen, how about you? What's your definition of prehab for endurance athletes?
Yeah, so when I think about prehab, I'm thinking about it's a lot of the complementary training that surrounds the training that you're doing for your sport. So when we're training for the sport, we're training a lot of the muscles, the movements that we're doing to perform better. But that often includes very specific movements that happen repetitively, especially in endurance sports. So I think of prehab as the things that you need to surround that to help to balance the systems or support the systems that are going to help you perform in your sport. So things like, do you have the mobility that it takes to do the movements correctly? Do you have the strength that it takes to do those movements correctly? And how do you balance those systems? So say you're a biker who's always in a lot of flexion, how do you balance that system with doing movements that take you into extension positions? If you're always doing straight plane movements going front to back, how do you complement that with some things that might go laterally or involve rotation movements, that kind of thing? And then how are you moving? Which I kind of alluded to with kinetic chain is are you using your movement effectively? Do you need to train your motor systems to use the strength and mobility that you have efficiently?